Yo, yo, what up, people? It's your boy, Oh No Solo, and I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Alert and Spoil. Season 2, Episode 2 of Power Force opens up right where we left off. Chewie, the former disgruntled and disloyal goon that Tommy had to unalive, has been discovered by the local police department. At the crime scene investigation, thanks to a resourceful man of the streets, the lead detective discovers a possible motive for his untimely demise. After negotiating some bargaining cash, the man of the streets explains that word on the streets is that Chewie was a pancake, meaning he flipped sides in the CBI gang and treason was most likely the reason for his current predicament. Back at the stash, after Tommy walks in, interrupting Diamond beating the brakes off of Shorty over his desk, he informs his partner that Chewie is no longer of this world, to which Diamond shows his disapproval. Diamond fears retaliation at this junction will start a war the group isn't prepared for, but Tommy sees things differently. This event begins to show us that Tommy has his goals on ascending to the top. To get there, not much is off limits. Diamond, however, his goals aren't so clear and perhaps his judgment and decision-making are being clouded by other forces. Jay Nord and his crew react to Chewie's death as expected, initially. They want revenge and vow to get it on sight whenever they run into Tommy, as he is their primary suspect, rightfully so. While this is going on, Tommy is combing the streets for information on whomever killed Liliana. He pops up on a visibly beat up and bothered Vic Flynn at the cemetery. Vic's in bad shape, mourning the loss of his true love and internally battling his view of both his father and sister is something he can't shake. Tommy shows empathy towards Vic and briefly mentions that he too experienced similar loss of a loved one, so he understands what Vic is experiencing. Tommy was referring to both Holly and Lakeisha, former girlfriends of Tommy that both lost their lives due to the dangers of the lifestyle being Tommy's woman. After a brief exchange, Tommy asks Vic for info on who killed Liliana. Of course, Vic fails to mention it was his sister. And before parting, Vic asks Tommy if he happened to know whom released the recipe for Dahlia to the internet, which Tommy expressed he'd let him know if he heard anything. Walter Flynn gets a visit from his plug, whom shows up with an interesting proposition, an ultimatum, if you will. He expresses to Flynn that his crew unintentionally cooked up a bad batch of drugs, one in which is most likely to be the last drugs taken by his future consumers. But due to the price it cost to produce said drugs, they had to be sold and the money recouped, and Flynn had to be the one to sell it. Flynn, in a better situation, may have told the plug to kiss his Irish ass, but this broken and beaten Flynn regrettably accepts. Diamond pays a visit to his younger brother Jay Nord in hopes to avoid a war. He proceeds to tell Jay Nord not to respond to Tommy killing Chewie for fear of Tommy's ability to kill anyone in his way. It's clear that Jay Nord's petty beef with his brother is small fries compared to all the problems their split has caused for him personally, so it doesn't take much convincing for him to instruct his crew to chill at the moment. Obviously, the crew isn't receptive to this order. They want blood revenge for the loss of their homie, and rightfully so. Back at the barbershop, an unexpected visit from the new parole officer proves problematic as he shows up for a urine sample and impedes on a meeting scheduled between Diamond, Tommy, and their Hispanic plug, Miguel. Forced to go alone, Tommy shows up at the meet just in time to be sprayed with bullets from a Serbian attack over territory. Tommy gets hit in the crossfire, but proves his usefulness to Miguel as a result. Like the Terminator that won't die, Tommy is only injured. Slightly. He gets taken into Miguel's establishment where he is given medical treatment from, you guessed it, Miguel's baby sis and Tommy's new love interest, Maria. She seems smitten by this bad boy energy, and they share a moment through the blood and stitches. The feds run into some issues as their request to put together a task force to follow Tommy is denied. This news puts them in a bind because they are sure that Tommy is involved with members of their underworld they've been after for years, and he could be the link. If they can prove Tommy's connection to the Mexican cartel, they just might get the task force. Flynn been unsuccessfully trying to get his family together. He wants Vic and Lily both to resume their positions in the family business. Underlying issues are proven to be problematic, however. Vic doesn't trust Walter or Lily. Lily doesn't trust Walter, and she lacks respect for her brother. And despite all this dysfunction, they actually need each other if they're going to survive the times. We find out towards the middle of the episode, Miguel, the Mexican plug, got a few people in close proximity that he answers to directly. He takes a meeting with his presumed boss where he divulges the Serbian hit and asks for the go-ahead on retaliation. This request is not only denied, but attached with some contingencies. A war with the Serbs will cut off a pipeline of use to them. And so if Miguel retaliates, not only will he be punished, but his pretty sister Maria and her virtue were also threatened. The Serbs been busy. They make another visit to Jay Nard to extort him for more cash to make up for the turf disagreement from episode 1. This shakedown in Jay Nard's crew provides more insight to how those guys are currently looking at their quote-unquote leader, and he's looking like food, y'all. Tommy and Diamond act on an opportunity they see to get them closer to running the city. First, they take out a few Serbian gangsters, and then hit the Mexican members there to pick up their shipment. As expected, Miguel believes this was another act of the Serbians towards him and his crew, further cementing his own desire to retaliate. With the Mexicans and Serbs at war, Jay Nard's fraction of CBI in disarray, Walter Flynn and his family currently a non-factor, a void had opened up at the top, and Tommy intended for his crew to fill it. In typical Power fashion, the episode climaxes as Tommy, enjoying a beef and bean burrito in his car, is pulled up on in an attempted assassination from a member of Jay Nard's fraction of CBI. Unfortunately, the only person who was hit was a young girl walking with her mother and brother. All this did was piss Tommy off and create more problems for everybody on the streets with the feds. It's only episode 2. Well, my take so far, I'm not sure. I want to say I'm proud of the franchise. Forrest has probably been the most disappointing of the series, as season 1 was extremely bland and boring. It didn't meet expectations I believe we all had as fans of the original. I believe the writers heard our cries and are set to make it right. I guess only time will tell. Will the Flynns recover from the depths? Does Miguel seek revenge on the Serbs? Does this killing of an innocent push the feds to set up the task force? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more commentary. I'll see y'all in the next video of Alert and Spoil. Peace. Yo, what up, people? It's your boy, Oh No Solo, and I'd like to welcome y'all back to another episode of Alert and Spoil. Season 2, Episode 2 of Power Force opens up right where we left off. Chewie, the former disgruntled and disloyal goon that Tommy had to unalive, has been discovered by the local police department. At the crime scene investigation, thanks to a resourceful man of the streets, the lead detective discovers a